Good day. Today is the 10th of June, 2025. I'm currently walking around Hyde Park, just off Speaker's Corner. It's about 10 a.m. right now, and there was a cool event where Bryan Johnson, Don't Die guy, had like a speaking forum, like not a speaking forum, but just an event, just a hangout with everyone who decided to come, and it was quite cool. It was quite generous of him to do this, like just pop in for a short event in the park, and thematic as well because it's the speakers corner. It's the oldest free speech platform that I think is that's in London, I think, or generally speaking, like it's been here for about 200 years, if I'm not mistaken, and it was quite interesting. Like he also like the timing of the event was quite odd, not odd, but the event was supposed to run from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. But Brian was late for about half an hour to 40 minutes, so we had to stay around and wait for him to show up. But well, it's London, so you can't fault him too much for it. Despite that, we had a nice walk, and we found a spot here in Hyde Park where we all sat down and we just had a chat. Like it was a back and forth discussion, some conversation, like some questions were asked. It was quite interesting. The impressive bit, and what impressed me a lot, is the fact that after the speaking, like he finished speaking at about like so it took an hour total, like from the moment that he came, from the moment that he came to to the point where his staff were telling him to wrap things up and like move on. It's like we gotta go. Like let's do a quick like a photo shoot session and let's move on, right? So Q&A and then photo shoot, I guess, like a meet and greet and photo shoot. And despite the fact that like the event was supposed to finish at 9, right? So he finished at 9:30, and now he stayed, like, and I think he's still there to take photos with basically the entire crowd, like the entire crowd that gathered. It's like about I would say 150 people maybe, like total, and all of us got the chance to like have at least a minute with Brian, and basically not a minute, but to have at least some time with Brian and like take a picture. Like he also signed a notebook that I keep where I try to write all of my goals and things I want to achieve. So it's like a goal list for myself. So it's a nice way to program the subconscious mind to basically drive you towards achievement of the things that you actually desire. So it's quite interesting. It's quite beneficial. In any case, why am I mentioning all this, and why am I talking about this, and how does this relate to the things we do at the laboratory? Well, Brian is an American, right? So he's an American, and his culture works slightly differently than UK culture. Based on the recent study that we discussed, the reason why I'm mentioning this is because I was very impressed and very interested in the way Brian communicated. So during the presentation, like, and I've observed he had a very particular way of communicating and trying to share his ideas. And we did a case study recently with London Psychometric Laboratory about bridging borders. So bridging borders, how does emotional intelligence play an effect in nurturing glo- not global but international managers? So if you are from a culture, let's say in US, and you're moved to another culture, let's say you go to China, or you go to Malaysia, or any African countries, right? which facets of your character translate into leadership, right? So which things remain and what things are effective tools in international management, right? So, and while observing Bryan, he showcased those specific hallmarks. So those are emotion perception, empathy. Empathy was a good predictor. So it was an international predictor because some countries, the basic gist is that people express their emotions differently depending on the cultural context, and that was also covered in the experiment overview, in the paper overview that we did yesterday. In this case study, we noticed a specific pattern emerged where the traits that manage to bridge those cultural gaps, right, that are present between most of the cultures, like we discussed those last time, are adaptability, emotion perception, and empathy. So it's kind of intuitive if you think about it, why the ability to perceive emotions, be empathetic and adaptable to different situations might help you with being a successful leader in like a different culture, like how those specific traits can migrate from a culture to culture. Emotion perception is the ability to read other people's emotions and understand what they mean by those. So infer the intentions of other individuals based on the emotional cues that they display. And funnily enough, the fact that it is cross-cultural shows that despite our cultural differences, despite our like, different sort of social programming, right? Like despite our common myths and ideas and things of that nature, like societal, cultural factors, we are all human after all. So we're all people. We're all made of the same sort of initial settings, right? So we express our instinctual emotions, the baseline desires, like what we feel stays the same. We just label it with different things, and we have rules about expressing those feelings depending on our culture, right? But the underlying feeling is the same. Empathy, being able to empathize with others. Being able to empathize with others is a very important hallmark of being able to connect with people, right? So understanding what the other person feels and being able to place yourself in their shoes. So that's so being able to put yourself into the other person's shoes and see what they uh, understand and empathize with what they feel. That's another one. And finally, adaptability. So being able to adapt and overcome challenges that present themselves and morph and essentially uh, remold yourself, and remodel yourself based on different challenges that present themselves in your daily routine, right? So day to day challenges, how do you handle them? How are you able to adapt and overcome these new challenges that are there? So regarding how does this relate to the recent event and the way Bryan Johnson communicates, because he is an effective communicator. He wouldn't be who he is if he wasn't an effective communicator. And one of the speech patterns that I notice is that he is trying to show consistent gratitude and explicitly state what he feels in the moment. So he verbalizes his own emotions, giving you the opportunity to connect and feel the same thing that he feels. So he is giving you the opportunity to feel empathy and share a moment together, which is really cool. And I think it is one of the hallmarks of a great leader and a great communicator, great effective communicator, to be able to make others feel what you feel, right? So that's sort of a track back to emotion perception and empathy, because in order to be able to get others to be on the same page with you, you have to understand what they're feeling in the moment. So being able to read the room and read your audience, as well as express express emotions in such a way as to allow others to feel them, right? Not exactly. It's about expressing emotions. It's about expressing your your feelings in such a way that other people can understand and be able to connect. So simple enough to understand, culturally appropriate enough to connect and express it in the way that works. Okay, I think this roughly covers everything that I wanted to discuss from this case study. Uh, there are quite a few takeaways, and I would like to conclude by saying that having having this having the ability to adapt and not change yourself but be able to express yourself culture appropriately is vital for success in engaging the global audience. So we're all part of the global world, right? So everyone has to engage with different cultures all the time. If you do not wish to just deliver results but be a great leader, an effective leader, and a leader who is followed out of, not out of necessity, but out of respect and desire to work together and succeed, right? So it's an internal motivating drive, right? So the thing that makes people want to follow you rather than have to follow you just because of your position, right? If you want to develop those kinds of relationships, having a balanced trait emotional intelligence profile along with cultural training to understand how different cultures express their traits, and the coaching to be able to express those traits appropriately, is vital for your success. So once again, like sort of concluding and coming back to the current event with Bryan Johnson, the universal language of trait emotional intelligence is being used by him actively. So he is engaging constantly in like understanding how people feel in the context. So working with the audience and connecting with the audience directly, being empathetic and showing that he understands how the other person feels by voicing these concerns and showing them in a more generic way that is approachable and easy to connect to, right? And adapting adapting to different cultures, right? So adapting the message to different cultures, like the messages don't die, right? So that's a pretty universal. I don't know how more universal can one get than just saying don't die, right? uh I, I'm pretty sure not a single human on this planet will choose death over existence. Like it's it's a thing that all people should strive for, right? Not should, not should. That's not a good thing. Like, because then I'm imposing my opinion on you. No, no, no. Like, I encourage all people to strive for existence because it will make the world a much more interesting place if everyone, if if more people are there, because that's with whom we communicate. That's who drives all those ideas. These are the creative engines of the universe, of this universe that we live in, right? So our world is quite small, and we're all cavemen, right? We're all cavemen that try to do our own thing, and having more of us here, well, we might come up with a cool idea or something. Yeah.